There's a version of this conversation that ends with a lesson, a takeaway, something clean you can carry with you. This isn't that version, because some of you are in the middle of something right now that doesn't have a clean ending yet. Maybe it's a marriage. Maybe it's a friendship that cracked under the weight of something neither of you saw coming. Maybe it's a family member you love, but have had to keep at a certain distance just to stay intact. Whatever the relationship is, if you're in that in-between space right now, I think you deserve someone who will just sit in it with you for a few minutes, without rushing to the resolution. So let's talk about what happens after forgiveness and the decision to stop filtering someone through your wounds. The choice to receive new signals without running them through old data. That part I still believe in. But here's what nobody really prepares you for. You can forgive someone completely and still not know what to do with them. You can release the debt and still stand at the door of the relationship, not knowing whether to walk back in. Not because you're bitter. Not because you haven't done the work. Not because you're secretly holding a grudge you haven't admitted to yourself yet, but because the relationship you're being invited back into isn't the one you had, and you're not sure yet if you want the one that's in front of you. That's where a lot of people are. And they feel like something is wrong with them because they thought forgiveness would answer the question. Like once they got there, once they got to the place of genuine release, the path forward would just become obvious. It doesn't work that way. Forgiveness clears the ledger. It doesn't tell you what to build next. And I think that confusion between forgiveness and what comes after it is one of the most quietly painful places a person can live. So let me draw a line that I think matters. Forgiveness is internal. It only requires one person. You do it alone, in the quiet, and when it's real, it's done. You don't need the other person present. You don't need them to have changed. You don't even need them to know. A friendship, a marriage, a parent, a sibling, whoever it was that hurt you, your forgiveness of them doesn't depend on their participation. That's actually what makes it powerful. It belongs entirely to you. Reconciliation is different. Reconciliation is mutual. It requires two people who have both moved, and it requires something new to move into. You can't reconcile back into the old structure. That structure is gone. What you're actually deciding, and this is the reframe I want you to sit with, is whether to start a new relationship with a familiar person. Not repair the old one, start a new one. Because the old relationship, what it was, what it felt like in the beginning, what you thought it would become, that's gone. You can grieve it. You probably should. That loss is real, even if the person is still standing right in front of you, even if they're sorry, even if they've genuinely changed, even if you believe them. The thing you had before doesn't come back. Something else can come. Something that's honest about what happened and built on who you both are now, but not the original thing. That one is over. And here's where it gets honest. Sometimes you're not sure the something else is enough. Sometimes you look at what's possible now and you feel not anger, not resentment, just a quiet sadness. Like you're mourning in one hand and trying to build with the other. And both things are happening at the same time, and neither one cancels the other out. You can want it to work and still feel the weight of what it cost you. You can be genuinely open and still feel the distance. Both of those are true, and they're allowed to be true at the same time. That's not a sign you haven't forgiven. That's just what it feels like to be a human being trying to figure out what's real. Now I want to say something about the situations where maybe the path forward isn't reconciliation at all, where maybe the honest answer after the forgiveness, after the reflection, is that this relationship in its next form would cost you more than it would give you. That's a real outcome too. Forgiving someone doesn't obligate you to rebuild proximity with them. You can forgive a friend and see them less. You can forgive a family member and still hold a boundary about what you allow into your life on a regular basis. Forgiveness doesn't require you to keep signing up for the same pain. It just requires you to release the debt. What you do with the relationship after that is a separate question entirely. and it deserves to be treated as one. What I want to push back on, gently, is the idea that ambivalence means you haven't decided. That if you were really clear, you'd know. That if the forgiveness was real, you'd feel settled. Some days you see a path forward. Some days you don't. Some days the version of this that's possible looks like something you could be genuinely happy in. Other days, it doesn't look like anything at all. And you go back and forth, not because you're unstable, not because you're confused, but because you're being honest with yourself about something that's actually complicated. And the people who seem the most certain in these situations are often the ones who stopped asking the hard questions, not the ones who found the real answers. Ambivalence, when it comes from honesty, is not weakness, it's integrity. So I'm not going to tell you what to do with your relationship. I'm not going to tell you to stay or leave or fight for it or walk away. What I will tell you is this. Stop collapsing forgiveness and reconciliation into the same decision. You may have already done one. The other is still open, and it deserves to be approached on its own terms, with clear eyes, without guilt for not having the answer yet, without the pressure of what it looks like from the outside, without the timeline other people think you should be on. Because the question underneath all of this, the one that actually matters, isn't did I forgive them? It's who are we now, and is what's possible between us something I actually want to build? That question doesn't always have an answer on demand. Sometimes you have to live inside it for a while. And living inside an honest question is not the same thing as being lost. It might actually be the most grounded place you can be. I don't have the answer yet. Maybe you don't either. And maybe that's exactly where we're supposed to be.